It's a game that South Africa simply must win. Who would have thought that halfway into their campaign, South Africa would be playing a must-win game, a survival game that's up in Birmingham, and they take on New Zealand, who are one of the two unbeaten sides, and it's so important for this tournament. But try telling that to New Zealand. It's so important for this tournament that South Africa win, because you can't have a team of the stature of South Africa going out game number 26 in a 45-46 game tournament. So that's coming up, South Africa versus New Zealand. Are you surprised at what's happened to South Africa?
Yes, I mean, you are expecting that at some stage they will buckle under pressure, but no one expected that's going to happen so soon. So that's the shocking part. Clearly, another team which is dealing with things which are just beyond in that dressing room. It's just not the battle which is happening there. It's actually happening the external factors also which are affecting. That's one. The injuries in the dressing room have not really helped around the squad. Losing Dale Steyn, Ngidi getting injured, not really getting the rhythm going after the injury, and again suffering some kind of a niggle. So that has not helped South Africa.
They must have looked at their team, Zach, before the tournament began and said, we've got Rabada at one end, Ngidi at one, Steyn comes back, Imran Tahir, we've got 4 solid bowlers in there. Then we'll get a Pekluk Wayo or a Morris to come and slip in some overs. Our bowling is looking good. And then next thing they know, there's no Steyn. Next thing they know, there's no Ngidi. And so they're struggling.
Because every time you talk about World Cup, you talk about dealing with pressure, you talk about... anyways, they are trying very hard to get rid of that tag, which we've decided we're not going to say, but that tag never really leaves them, right? Now, to avoid the chokers tag, you need experience, right, to deal with those kind of things. And they had experience in that camp. They had experience in Dumini, they had experience in Miller, they had experience in Faf, Amla. Quinton de Kock is promising opener who is now captain also in some format for them.
Imran Tahir has been playing a long time.
Imran Tahir has been playing for a long time. So you had expected them to put up a better show, and I think things have not really gone their way. There are too many things going actually against them. Injuries is one part. The AB's controversy which happened, that added fuel to what things were not going their way. So I think for their sake, and to take pride in cricket, because that team has got a lot of potential. So you want them to now win at least few games. It's a must-win game, we understand, but you have to put up that fight on the field, which so far has not seen.
They're coming up against New Zealand, and I think in terms of World Cup grief, South Africa have had a lot of World Cup grief. Klusener-Donald was one moment of grief, but the second biggest moment of grief was Grant Elliott, Johannesburg-born man. But New Zealand came against New Zealand. South Africa dreaming, let's make the final again, playing decent cricket after losing to India, and suddenly they're up against New Zealand in a must-win game again.
And the South African, South African playing for New Zealand, which would have hurt even more.
Yeah, so now who in this camp is saying, you know what, forget what happened last year. It's interesting, Quinton de Kock was asked about that, saying, do you still have a hangover of that? Was that still one of the most emotional moments you've had? And he said, no, he said, winning the IPL with the Mumbai Indians. that was a strange one. I mean, I don't think he said it in as many words, but he did say that. Before that, AB de Villiers had said that the IPL is the biggest tournament in the world.
It's a strange side, because see, the only person, South Africa has always been led by strong personality, somebody who's driven it long.
Yes.
And Faf is just, somehow he is the most natural fit for captaincy as it is, but he just doesn't seem to have enough leaders around him.
And yet you would have thought that JP Dumini has been captain. He's a senior person. You'd have thought Amla has been senior person. Amla has been captain of South Africa as well. He gave it up. Yeah, you're right. He gave it up. He didn't want it. No AB. But Ngidi is back. Can a young man lift aside? Just wonder.
Yeah. Rabada, Ngidi, somebody needs to get quick wickets. Somebody needs to do something exceptional. See, I always believe when you have tournaments like this now, a spark is one guy getting an innings which you don't expect.
Lights a raging fire.
Somebody needs to light that kindle. Somebody needs to kindle it. Nobody has for South Africa. The other thing is, remember, their consistency through the tournaments, through the years, has been their plethora of all-rounders. Why? Because if you have a situation when their all-rounders were genuine, like a Jacques Kallis or a Brian...
Oh, that's so many.
Yeah.
And you go even further. You had Klusner, Pollock, Nicky Boye, all these guys.
An assembly line of all-rounders. So you had 8 batsmen, 7 bowlers, and that was the South African formula.
Now here's something interesting. Whatever happens, South Africa, Pakistan, I think becomes a knockout. Only one of those teams can go through. But if South Africa can beat New Zealand, suddenly this World Cup will get reignited almost.
Then they beat Sri Lanka, and then they say, last day we have Australia. We beat Australia, we qualify.
Could well be, because they've only played their opponents, New Zealand, have only played the Asian team so far.
Yeah.
And they haven't really had a powerful opponent to play against.
They haven't had a really tough game.
So South Africa might well turn up and say, hey, New Zealand, we'll speak in a Kiwi accent now. You beat us in a South African accent. Welcome to the real World Cup now.
Yes.
South Africa, West Indies, Pakistan, Australia, England. The way it goes, because of the abandonments, if 11 net run rate can get you through, they need to win 2 out of those 5. Yeah. But who knows? New Zealand haven't made too many. New Zealand have been very steady so far. They've picked the same side. They've decided that's the way they're going to play. They've been in simple laminar flow. Things have gone well for them. Who knows? Suddenly they might get a shock. Or they may not. What do you think?
They are playing after a while, isn't it? They've had
and also they had a washout in between.
Washout game. Yeah. So yeah, that sometimes changes the momentum. But New Zealand usually has been known for this, isn't it? Yeah. You know, they have a very set formula.
Just to interrupt. Their last game was 8th of June.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Now they're playing on the 19th. They haven't played a game for 11 days.
That's 10, 11 days. So that's
an ODI series.
That's a long
ODI
break.
tour.
Yeah, 20.
Yeah.
So that will be interesting to see that how they are turning up, because when you've not had a loss in the tournament and then you are playing after so many days, at times it just can make you a little complacent, or you may switch off. You need to know that switch off, switch on. Those kind of factors will come into play, and we'll have to wait and see for tomorrow how they are coping with that. Usually with New Zealand, these things don't really matter that much, because they've been, if you look at New Zealand cricket, they have this set formula. That Guptill and Munro are going to turn up there. They're going to look to take the attack to the opposition, set that tempo for the innings. Ken Williamson is going to come.
Taylor,
then you have Taylor, and then you have the all-rounders to come in at the back end. With bowling, it's again they've settled now with these 3 bowlers, so I don't think they'll give chance to Saudi even if he's fit.
Or Sodi?
Depending on the condition. So what is the venue for tomorrow?
Tomorrow's Birmingham, Edgbaston.
Birmingham, yes. So I don't think Sodi will be a factor.
I met Sodi. He's a character. He's a funny guy. I met Sodi as I was walking across, and he was looking at the pitch and looking up, and he said, doesn't look good for a spinner. Where is a spinner going to bowl?
But actually, that's one thing which has been working for New Zealand. Yeah. If you see all the games which they've played, Neesham and Grandom has come into play. Yeah. So if seamers, if as they call it, dibbly-dobbly in English terms, so if they come into play, then that New Zealand is going to have a good day.
Correct. The balance will be very good.
Yeah, the balance gets better. So that's something which has worked for them so far. So let's see how the day is tomorrow, what kind of weather it is and the overhead conditions. And I don't think that they're going to tinker with that playing 11 tomorrow.